Imagine having over $52,000 in debt. What would you do? Many people would just give up. They would throw in the white towel, they would file bankruptcy, but not this couple. This couple actually paid off all of that debt in 7 months. You want to find out how they did it? We're going to find out how they did it and more right now. Before I break down what today's Make 1K episode is all about, let me go ahead and get some formalities out of the way. Alexa, it's time to get wealthy. There we go. All right, so this Make 1K series is a special treat, as I've already said, and it's worth saying again. So I'm featuring a couple here. We've got Chris and Andrea. So I've actually known Chris for quite some time. He is a personal finance blogger, also a firefighter. But before I even knew about his blogging story and all the online success that he's had, he also had an amazing debt paying off story with him and his wife, Andrea. So the cool thing about this episode, where typically with the Make 1K series, we're trying to find out how these entrepreneurs started off in the beginning, all the trials and tribulations they had to overcome to reach the success they have today. Well, not only are you getting that, but you're also getting an inspirational debt payoff story. Because, I mean, come on, $52,000 in 7 months, like that is legit. Check it. All right, I think you get the gist what the Make 1K series is all about. If you want to check out other episodes where I feature other amazing entrepreneurs, go ahead and check the link in the description for the playlist that has all the past people I've had here on the channel. All right, without further ado, let's find out more about Chris and Andrea.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Peach from Money Peach, and this is my amazing wife, Andrea Robinson.
With You Do You Media. We have 2 separate online businesses, and yes, we're married, and it's been working out okay.
Yeah, we share an office too.
Yeah, we do. We share a lot of things.
So we work together, but just not in the same business.
Yeah.
I am the founder of Money Peach. In 2015, we founded a website called Money Peach. My name's Chris Peach. Money Peach seemed to work. And what we do is we teach people how to make money, get out of debt, build wealth, and how to live on a budget. You see, when we started our business, we were just learning about money. So that's why we started our business. And today, Money Peach is now a blog, it's a website, it's a podcast. It's one of the go-to resources if you're learning to get on a budget or learning how to get out of debt, save money, or maybe you want to listen to our podcast or you want to take one of our courses where we show you exactly what to do.
And I recently launched my business in January of 2019, so I'm a few steps behind him. But it's called You Do You Media, and really the foundation of it is one tool that we launched a year ago called the You Do You Journal. It is a guided gratitude journal that I created out of a need for a better one. A better one than the one I was using. But ultimately, the bigger mission is to empower women through intention and gratitude, that they can find their inner confidence again, that they can be confident mothers and confident wives and confident friends. And we do that through a like-minded community. We do that through love, encouragement, and support, which is incredibly lacking in the world in which we live in today.
So the 2 biggest differences in our business is my business is 100% digital. It's online, it's a website, it's a blog, it's a podcast, and it's digital. Where you have an e-commerce store where you actually have products that ship out, get delivered. So
live events and so forth.
It's really cool, both online, but yet very different.
Yep.
When we started Money Peach in 2015, it came because of our own stupidity with money. Kind of weird,
We
right?
were dum-dums when it came to managing money.
So in 2011, we went completely broke. That means we were living paycheck to paycheck. We had gone $52,000 in debt. We had student loans. We had car loans. We had maxed out credit cards. We had overdrafted our checking accounts. We were broke. We were stupid. And from that point, we hit our rock bottom, and we didn't even know what a blog was, but we were doing some research online of how do you get out of debt? How do you pay off debt? How do you save money when you're broke? And we ended up following a lot of what we learned online, and we ended up paying off $52,000 in 7 months. Now, this is crazy. Yes, it's not normal. So we started telling some of our friends that we paid off debt, and at first,
they thought we were crazy and that we had gone to another planet, and they wondered if their fun friends would come back again. But eventually, when you start walking a different walk and people see change, positive change in just the way your life looks, they start to ask questions. And eventually, the haters always come back around and they want to know how you did it.
So it was actually in this very kitchen where we're shooting this video, is we had our first financial coaching session. Now, we didn't know what a financial coaching session was.
It was basically us meeting for Sunday dinner and us showing them the way.
We showed them how to do a budget.
That's all we showed them.
And so they told their friends, who told their friends, who told their friends, and all of a sudden, I started realizing that we're doing all these financial coaching sessions. We're basically showing people how to get on a budget and how to get out of debt. So finally I thought, instead of doing this one-on-one, what if we took this and we did this in a community? So our CrossFit gym said, come to our gym and you could use the space for free. And so we started running these classes on how to do a budget, how to get out of debt, how to save money. And somebody in that class finally said, why are you doing this in the classroom? Why don't you take this online? And I said, well, how would that work? And he goes, well, I would probably start a blog. And the only problem was I didn't know what a blog was. You see, still today, I'm a full-time firefighter. And she was a news anchor at the time.
I didn't
we're like,
really
a blog?
know what it
No, we're not used to being entrepreneurs. We are in somebody else's mold. We do what we're told, in this vertical. So the idea of starting something on our own just sounded daunting. And I had to go look up what a blog was. At the time, I thought a blog was where you got recipes for cooking. That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, so.
Clearly, we learned real quick what a blog was. I would say what inspired me is, again, like he mentioned, I was a television news anchor for almost 15 years, and I left that full-time career, what I went to school for, what I tried, and put all my energy into. I left that in September of 2018, and I really left it because it was time for me to close that chapter and start something new, not knowing what that was. I just knew the prompting in my heart was leading me to have more flexibility with my family and my kids. Television news, especially morning TV, is extremely rigid. The schedule is hard. We wake up at 2:30 in the morning. We work long days, and it leaves very little wiggle room for you to be a mom or a wife or impromptu date nights and so forth. And the schedule just became very taxing. So when I left, I knew that, of course, my day of working was not done. I just needed something more flexible. And really, he painted the way and showed me that there is absolutely a creative path to still work and still fulfill a passion that's in your heart to serve people in a way, but to do it on your own terms. And that really is what inspired me, because I saw what he was doing, plus so many of our other friends whom you introduced me to that did the same thing. And when I saw if they can do it, I thought, I think I could do that too.
So when I first got started, like I said, I didn't know what a blog was. And so at the time, this is 2015, podcasts are somewhat popular, not like they are today. So I was into podcasts, and I found this guy called Smart Passive Income, Pat Flynn. And so his was really focused on motivation. It wasn't super tactical at the time. It was bringing on other online entrepreneurs who made me feel like I'm not alone. There was other guys out there working a full-time job, growing this passive income on the side, and I really truly started to believe that I could. But as far as building the online business, I have to give my credit to Amy Porterfield. So Amy Porterfield, she has a podcast called the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast, and that's where I learned about email marketing, email list building, all social media. And so I still listen to Amy today. So she's probably, as far as the tactical, as far as growing the business. And then in the personal finance space, I got to throw a shout out to this guy. Maybe you know him. His name's Jeff Rose. Jeff was the one that I looked up to in the personal finance space because, he was a guy, but also I could relate to him when he was in his writing, and just when I would see him at conferences, I was like, this is somebody that I want to model my business after. So shout out to Jeff Rose as well.
I would say, I'm not paying him, or he's not paying me to say this, but you were my mentor and somebody that I really looked up to, because again, when you leave, you're known. Mine was corporate America, working for a very large, well-known television corporation. You know that way only. And I didn't know anything there was to running a business. Email marketing, funnels, blogs, e-commerce. I didn't know any of that. I didn't even know how to send a mass email out to a list, let alone have a list. And so he really helped me in the very beginning, still helps me to this day, learning and growing and being patient with me. But as far as getting things up and running, this guy was the one that really helped me do it all.
obstacle for me when I was starting out was I didn't know what I was doing. And so many of you I think can relate to that, but I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I would go and I'd look online at like a guy like Jeff Rose's site and I'd be like, why doesn't my site look like that? And I would get discouraged because somebody had an amazing site or somebody had an amazing podcast. And I would always think, well, I'm just a firefighter, so how am I ever going to figure this out? So it was overcoming the idea that I would never get to that point. And I think the biggest struggle that I had, and I still today have this struggle, is I often compare myself to somebody else who's way further along. And we all go at different paces. I'm still a full-time firefighter, and we work 56 hours a week. We have 2 kids. I want to stay married. So I don't run my online business as a 40, 50 hour a week business. I can't if I want to stay married. So I have to really be super efficient with my time, which means I'm also going to grow slower, and I need to be okay with that. So I think the biggest obstacle was seeing how far along people were, and then maybe seeing somebody else who started after me catch up to me and pass me. It just had this mindset that we all go at different paces.
And I kind of echo that in a little bit of a way. Is the biggest struggle still for me now, and again, I'm still in the infancy stages, is the learning curve. So for 15 years, and especially, towards the middle to end, I was really good at what I did. And it came very easy. And when there was something sort of new, I picked it up really easy because it was under the umbrella of TV, and I got it and I understood it, and it just flowed easy. This is a completely different world for me. And so I'm so used to just knowing how to do something, and the curve, which is a rather big curve for me, of for some, the simple things of running a business, or especially an online business, are sometimes the hardest for me because it takes me so long to understand it, and having to, Google how to do something, and then the slowness for me to actually implement it. But I often, and I got to a place recently where I remind myself to go back to the very first day when I started in TV news. I did not deserve to be at that station in that position. I was making $10 an hour and I knew nothing. And I look back and I'm like, well, that was day 1. And then on, the last day of almost year 15, the growth that had happened didn't happen overnight. So I know the growth that's going to happen with my new business and this whole new path isn't going to happen overnight.
My first $1,000 online did not come very quickly. So I remember I started moneypeach.com. I bought the domain in March 2015. And I remember I was writing these blog posts. I remember at the time I was trying to do 3 a week, which was crazy. It's way too much. And I remember a friend asking me, Chris, how are you going to make anybody doing this? And the thing was, I wasn't focused on making money at that time. I was focused on providing value. And so I didn't care about the money. I knew it would come later. I didn't know how it would come, but I just knew that in this world, when you provide enough value, money will come. If you chase the value, money will come. If you chase the money, you're going to be disappointed. So December of that year, so fast forward 9 months, I learned how to build an online course by paying for courses on how to build online courses. And I launched this online course to this tiny email list that I had been giving free information to for 9 months. I have been answering their emails. I have been answering their questions on social media. And we had a $10,000 launch in 1 day. Now, I didn't make $1,000 up to that point. So I really kind of went a little different trajectory. I went no money, no money, no money, no money, $10,000 in a day. And I was like, oh my goodness, online businesses rock.
There's some validity with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I kind of follow a little bit with his path of making his sort of first bit of money. I, again, new to this whole game, I launched the journal. The very first product we had launched in early January of 2019. And the launch made about $15,000. Okay, again, girlfriend over here, 3 months in a business, right? So how does that happen? And again, he reminds me that's not typical in a very good way. But what I have to also be very transparent with was for 15 years, the people that already knew, liked, and trusted me, that the product I was offering to serve them, because it helped me so much. Journaling in my own sort of healing had helped me so much. But beyond that, for 15 years, we sat every single morning together. They invited me into their living rooms. I knew about their family. They knew everything there was about my family. When I had a baby, when the babies turned 1, when we got married, all of those things. They were invited to walk in my life with me. So 15 years later, we had a relationship, and I had built a very, very strong following, a very loyal following for that long. And so when we went to actually sell something, it didn't feel like I was selling something. And I think the reciprocity of them trusting me to buy the product didn't feel like it was a hard sell or anything. It was just us continuing to walk together. So it's been a little bit different because I built this following before I ever had a business.
I'd say if you build the know, like, and trust factor over time, it's not selling anymore. It's just telling somebody about this really cool product or service you have.
And that's really kind of the baseline of what I do now. It's just sharing what is working for me in my life and things that I love, and our brand and our community is what's supporting that now.
So one of the goals that we had in our business, in Money Peach at the time, was as we started to build a solid foundation, I could realize that, okay, now we have this foundation, we can build upon that. So build a strong foundation. And so it wasn't until we started our business in 2015, it wasn't until like the end of 2018 where really we started, about the end of 2018, we started making enough money that it was matching her salary at the news station. And I realized, okay, now we've actually replaced your income and you can leave your career if you want to, because the money's there now. So it was, almost 4 years into the business. 3.5 years is when we finally started to make income that was a healthy income.
Yeah. And I am still, a little over a year into this. So I would say the passive income component of it is not steady yet. But what I am seeing is the more I serve my community, the more I offer them value and I offer them authenticity and my genuine heart, that they continue to come to the table. They continue to walk with me, and that equates into income coming in. They're rebuying, our number one product, our gratitude journal. They're supporting being a part of the community. They come to our events. So it looks a little bit different than him, but again, the business idea and the model looks a little bit different as well. But I would say it comes as I keep serving them.
If I can go back in time, I would tell my beginner self to focus on the things that matter. I think sometimes, especially when we're starting off and we don't have any money to go and hire people or hire some help, what happens is we're doing everything. So really be choosy on what you're doing. I would ask yourself every time you're about to do something, are you doing it because it sounds like it's cool or it sounds like it's a good idea, or are you doing it because it actually matters? I'll give you a prime example here. In 2015, when I started in March, I thought at the time that I needed to have a blog, I needed to have a podcast, I needed to have a YouTube channel, I needed to do email list building, I needed to do social media marketing. So I thought I needed to do all of it. And there's that saying that I was an inch deep and a mile wide. So what I would say, Chris, is go back in time and focus on one thing and do that one thing the best. Don't be good at it, be the best at it. And then once you're the best at that, then you can maybe start moving on to the next thing. But don't try to do everything at once. Try to do one thing really, really, really well.
And I would echo that as well, because he's shown me that. And I immediately think, because I hear somebody say, oh, you need to do a podcast, like you were on TV, you should do that, you should do a YouTube channel. And in the very beginning, I actually did. I tried a lot of those things, minus the podcast, and it just felt overwhelming. And I thought, I just left corporate America to not go back into the state of overwhelm. So what I focused on now is I just pick one thing and I try to really go all in and focus on that. I love writing. So writing will continue to be the number one thing. And my writing is what really nourishes and serves the community. And I know that because I now have a pulse on that is what they want. So I keep showing up with what they want, because ultimately it moves the needle.
The most impactful thing I can tell you is do not wait for yourself to be ready. Get started. If you have a desire right now to start an online business or do something beyond what you're doing right now or do something in addition to what you're doing right now, just start. Just push start. Just go. Don't wait for the perfect time. There's no such thing, right? And you don't have to be perfect. I mean, if I could go back and show you, maybe in the Wayback Machine, I could show you the beginning of Money Peach. It was terrible. When I first started the podcast, I didn't know you had to buy the intro music, and there was like in the background, it said audio cloud, because I forgot to pay for it. And I had like 5 episodes out. So the point is, you are never going to be perfect when you start. So don't wait for it. Just start, and you can go back and fix things. That's what's cool about online businesses, is you can actually go inside and fix things as you get going. People who are going to get your value don't care about how shiny and perfect it is. They care about you giving them the value. So keep that in mind.
And I would say keep looking at the why. What's the reason you're doing it? If it's just to make money, the why is going to die really, really fast. Because with an online business, I think there is steady months, but there's also a lot of this. And if you just get wrapped up in like the dollar sign, then none of it feels fun, none of it feels exciting, and your energy is just, and it just becomes a job. And I think a lot of us, when we go and start a business, we want to move away from a job, and we want to move towards something that impacts people, that fills our soul, that we can pour out our hearts into the world, so maybe somebody else can be helped along the way, or we can walk with them or guide them. So for me, it's just continuing to focus. The reason why I left my career, what my why has always been my family. And serving people has always been a big why. And I know if you just keep showing up, every day show up, whether you do one thing or 10 things. If you do one thing, you've shown up, you've put forward some effort into your business, and it will all pay off. It might not be in a year, it might not be in 4 years, but I believe it will if you just keep showing up.
Thank you guys so much for allowing us to hang out with you, and I can't wait to see your next online business. And if you make $1,000 the first month, or you make $1,000 in the first year, or maybe the first 3 years, it doesn't matter. Everybody goes at a different pace, and so just keep at it.
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
What an awesome story. What an awesome couple. I had the pleasure to get to know Chris and Andrea more. I've actually met with Chris several times at the Financial Blogger Conference, FinCon. And then for a short time, Chris was in my men's mastermind group and really got to see another side of him. And it was truly a treat to see that. And here recently at the last FinCon, his wife Andrea was there. I got to meet her. My wife Mandy was with me, and we got to have dinner together and just enjoyed a night out in DC. And even when they were in Nashville here just recently, they got a chance to stop by our home and just got a chance to connect even more. And they're just good people doing some amazing things. As you can see, they've got a lot on their plate right now, which is just awesome to see. So it just shows you, like, paying off debt, like that is such an amazing beginning, but it's just the beginning. You know, many people are so focused as like that is the end result, but man, once you pay off your debt, it frees up so many more opportunities that you don't even realize until you do it. And now they are seeing all the opportunities, and it's just fun to see what they've done, and it's just even more exciting to see what I know they're going to do. So if you want to know more about Chris and Andrea, be sure to check all the links in the description. I've got all the resources you need. I mean, seriously, follow them, check them out. They are fun to watch. All right, so who else do I need to have on the channel here with this whole Make 1K series? If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below, because I love featuring stories like this. Whether it's paying off debt, achieving wealth at an accelerated rate, like whatever it is that you are interested in, let me know. I want to make it happen, because you know what? I'm here to give back. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.